Canelo Crawford.
It's tricky. I want Crawford to win, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You know, I would like for that to happen, but this guy's a hard puncher. He's a smart fighter. I'm just curious. I just want to see it. I want to be there to see it.
He feels like this is a ridiculous fight. He states that Terence Crawford moving up 2 weight classes.
Into the fight, I wasn't really I just didn't like the fact that Terence Crawford had to go up 2 weight classes. I just didn't really like that.
Mike Tyson gives his direct opinion on Terence Crawford moving up to challenge Canelo Alvarez. Tyson insists Crawford doesn't need to accept this fight since his legacy is already secure. With nothing left to prove, he notes that climbing into the ring with a naturally larger fighter is a dangerous step that can harm, rather than elevate Crawford's reputation. For Tyson, the purpose of weight classes is to maintain fairness, and crossing them shifts the balance heavily. He admires Crawford's skill, but says the wiser option would be preserving the accomplishments he already has.
You posted the other day, there's a picture of you in a Rolls Royce, and you said, the quote is, "I can't remember how many of these I gave away."
Canelo Crawford.
It's tricky. I want Crawford to win, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You know, I would like for that to happen, but this guy's a hard puncher. He's a smart fighter. I'm just curious. I just want to see it. I want to be there to see it. Because listen, there's been upsets like that before. You know, Henry Armstrong, 124 pounds, he beat the 146-pound champ. So, you know, you never know. Anything can happen when 2 men are in a ring or in a basketball court. Anything can happen.
Tyson calls the proposed matchup absurd, pointing out that weight categories are there to protect fighters from unfair mismatches. He stresses the difference in size between Crawford and Canelo is simply too significant to ignore. To him, such a contest is not only risky, but also diminishes the recognition of Crawford's true greatness. Tyson flatly says he dislikes the bout, explaining that challenging a naturally bigger opponent brings unsafe disadvantage. While he values Crawford's talent, Tyson concludes this fight is unnecessary and may harm his career rather than add to it.
Think about Terence Crawford calling out Canelo.
You know, I don't like that fight.
Why not?
I don't like that fight. It's just too much weight, you know. And he had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, because this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy. He should have fought a guy that was just come straight at him. The guy was too awkward.
He's hurting, jerking, yeah.
Or one of them.
Yeah.
See, there's a missing art.
9 wins by way of knockout. And Mike Tyson, he feels like this is a ridiculous fight. He states that Terence Crawford moving up 2 weight classes is a ridiculous fight, and that he's just simply too small, and he's gonna lose, and lose bad. He feels like he didn't want to say it, but he hinted around he's gonna get knocked out, right? He thinks that, you know, Terence Crawford has skills, he's talented, but he just feels like there's weight class for a reason. Like many people in the sport of boxing, they feel like it's weight classes for a reason. And so, you know, he's not the first person to feel this way. But my thoughts is this. Should Terence Crawford be victorious, as I expect him to, the hype train for Terence Crawford's legacy only gets bigger, because there's so many people that are doubting Terence Crawford's ability to beat Canelo Alvarez because of the size, right? They feel like this is David and Goliath. And that story, that mythical story, is so big and so legendary is because of the size difference. You had the small little guy, you know, slaying the giant, right? It's just simply not supposed to happen. And so this just bolsters the myth of Terence Crawford.
Mike Tyson maintains that this fight is a bad idea. He argues that Crawford going up to divisions is unreasonable, as he is too small and would suffer a decisive loss. Though Tyson hesitated to spell it out, he implied Crawford could be knocked out. Tyson acknowledges Crawford's talent and ability, but repeats that weight limits exist for a reason. Many in boxing agree with him, noting classes separate fighters for safety. Still, if Crawford defies the odds, his legacy will expand greatly. Comparisons to David versus Goliath echo the mythical story where the smaller man overcomes the giant, further strengthening Crawford's legend.
Well, Canelo got a world champion right now in his camp with him with Boots. Well, Boots vacated.
Shakur, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much Shakur adds to this. He's a southpaw, and he's a smaller guy. I think that's just sharp brain. That's like if Boots was boxing Celine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm boxing him. My young boy nice, but he don't pertain to the fight necessarily. But everybody don't train like that anyway. Everybody don't look for to have all of these sparring partners be like identical or in the same realm of the person they fighting. Some people, they spar like for sharp minds, so they'll just try to have the best people they can have. So you never know what Bomac and them strategy is.
As far as stylistically, who do you feel like has the advantage heading into that? Well, I'm just looking at the sparring partners.
From the sparring partners, I think Boots not the same as Terence Crawford, right? But I think he has athleticism, and he's a switcher, and he'll kind of go off for the playbook to do his thing. I think mind state-wise, I think Boots is a big help. The guys that Crawford got in there, because
Mr. Martinez cracking.
no, he punching. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like, bro, I don't know who got the best of that.
You ever seen Darrell Valsing?
I have. You know, I'm a Haitian boy, so you know what I'm saying? But it's just hard. It's hard to, man, I just think the sparring for this fight is elite on both sides. I think that they both taking each other seriously. You can tell that by the sparring partners that they brought in. And I'm just kind of anxious to see the fight. Like, going into the fight, I wasn't really I just didn't like the fact that Terence Crawford had to go up 2 weight classes. I just didn't really like that. I mean, being honest, as a black boxing fan, when I take my coaching hat off, like, no, I don't want to see our best fighter have to go up 2 weight classes. I don't like that. But you think about it and you like, well, look, first of all, I don't want to deny that man. I wouldn't want to say nothing or even have it in my heart to deny that man that kind of financial like blessing that he gonna get from fighting Canelo. Not only that, he chasing great.
Respected boxing voice Dawood Bey shared his thoughts on how Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford ready themselves for major contests. He contrasted their sparring approaches, pointing out the discipline and depth each brings to camp. Bey explained that Canelo has a tradition of surrounding himself with sparring partners, designed to mirror upcoming rivals, ensuring every flaw is tested. Crawford, however, has built a name on versatility and sharp adjustments, though Bey doubts his sparring prepares him for a naturally heavier champion. Bey concluded that Crawford has already achieved greatness, with multiple belts and an undefeated record, and facing Canelo is a needless gamble that risks more than it rewards.
The levels that he's gone through, the weights that he's gone through, and the opponents that he has been in with, he's come up short against a couple, but he's come through some big challenges as well through his, 65, 66 professional bouts since he was 15 years of age. There's no doubt that this is the biggest test of Terence Crawford's career, not only because of the weight step up, but also because of the level of the opponent. But anybody that's watched Terence Crawford's career knows full well how much talent this young man has. I mean, he is absolutely sensational, both as an orthodox and as a southpaw fighter. You can't really tell which is his favoured side. He's that good, the angles that he creates, and the way that he not only dissects people, but the way that he puts his foot down when he gets somebody hurt is
he's spiteful.
He's truly, truly impressive.
But what he also does, and this is where I think people are making the mistake with the fight with Israel Madrimov last summer in Los Angeles, was that Terence doesn't mind doing enough to win. He doesn't, if he knows he's got to win on points, he's happy to tuck everything neatly in the office and win round by round. It reminds me of Floyd Mayweather, it reminds me of Pernell Whitaker, it reminds me of guys that win with ease without overstretching themselves, that don't have to get in a battle. But when he's got someone hurt, as you rightly say, spiteful. I'm not sure he'll get Canelo hurt in this fight, but if his timing and his movement are on, a slightly slowed Canelo, who likes to load up these days, could find himself frustrated by Terence Crawford.
Yeah, and there's also the aspect of when he is behind. I mean, we've all seen that famous clip where he's fighting Sean Porter. Somebody sells him ringside. They've got him down on the cards. He goes through the gears and stops Sean Porter in the very next round. There's also that element to him. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. But he's also fighting someone that's equally as brilliant. A very different type of style, Canelo.
And a fan favourite.
British journalist Gareth A. Davies presents the Crawford-Canelo fight as potentially historic. In his eyes, stepping into the ring against a bigger and more established figure like Canelo Alvarez is about far more than one bout. It is a chance for Crawford to cement his status among the sport's legends. Davies argues that every great fighter faces a trial of courage and ambition, and this could be Crawford's. Taking on Canelo could silence doubters who question the scope of his career, though Davies admits the risk is huge and a loss could spoil his perfect record. He insists these moments are what turn champions into icons remembered for daring as much as winning.
But in case you didn't really understand what he was saying, Canelo is saying there's a difference between boxing, like being a boxer, and moving, and then you throw some punches. Like you getting some punches in there. Then you like take a lap. And you get some more punches. Right? And I agree with that. I agree. Like, my thing is this. If you know my channel, I've been doing this from way back. We go back like cornrows. I have never really been big on this whole, like, running language. Like, I don't, because you got to understand, old media, they were the ones that came out with this whole running charade. And I don't like it because it was initially used to like maim and marginalize oftentimes black fighters and Cuban fighters. When non-black, non-Cuban fighters would face certain black fighters or Cuban fighters primarily, they would get hit with this like, oh, he ran moniker. And the reason you know it was racially motivated is because if you actually know boxing and you watch the fight, that's not even what was happening in the fights where they would claim that oftentimes a black fighter or Cuban fighter ran. Like Erislandy Lara versus Canelo. I thought Lara won the fight with Canelo. And Lara was doing some very good work. Canelo started doing some good body shots in the back half.
One analyst explains Canelo Alvarez's view on the often misread idea of running in the ring. Canelo rejects the claim that movement is negative, saying true boxing blends accuracy with footwork. He clarifies that good fighters stay mobile, create angles, and open opportunities instead of standing still or avoiding contact. The analyst notes Canelo referred to past foes like Erislandy Lara, whose skill showed through timing and ring positioning. Canelo said such tactics are part of boxing's depth and shouldn't be mislabeled. The bigger point, the analyst stresses, is that success comes from smart adjustments and ring IQ, not only forward pressure or brute force.
Yeah, man, I was thinking, man, like, a lot of people is making a fuss about Crawford being out of the ring for over a year, you know. I'm not putting too much stock into that, man. I'm not really, you know, Floyd Mayweather's came back from after a year. Shoot, I remember John Jones, 3 years out of the game, you know, and I know it's a different sport, but it's still combat sports. 3 years out of the game, came back, faced the champion, beat the champion, you know. Crawford took the time to really build his body up, man, the way he needed to build it up. And I like his build because just looking at pictures and stuff like that, man, he put a lot of the weight on his leg. You know, that's gonna help with stability. That's gonna help with punching power. It's gonna help with his ability to be able to take a shot too. You know, he get razzled and dazzled in there from one of them big shots with Canelo. You know, he gonna have some stability. He gonna have a base to be able to keep himself up. You know, I always say, you know, partly to be able to take a punch, I say, you know what? It's a lot to do with physical. It also has a lot to do with mental, and it also has a lot to do with genetics. Some guys can take it more than others. That's just it. Some guys can take it more than others, man. But, you know, I would say we all feel like the same thing when we do get hit with a big shot. You know, you hear that ringing in your ears. You know, that's your brain bouncing around off that skull. You know, bouncing around off that skull. You know, some part of you get numb. You know, especially if it's a big shot. You know, your legs might get numb, your arm might get numb. You know, I remember when I got knocked on my behind against Kendall Holt, man, my right leg went numb.
Timothy Bradley Jr. responded to doubts over Crawford's long layoff, arguing it won't hurt him. Many worry a year outside the ring will dull his rhythm, but Bradley says this is not unusual for elite fighters. He mentioned Floyd Mayweather as proof, recalling his successful comebacks after breaks. Bradley believes Crawford is too disciplined to let inactivity weaken him. Since he trains year-round and stays fit, in his view, Crawford will enter prepared and sharp, and concerns about ring rust are overstated. For Bradley, Crawford's professionalism ensures he will be ready for this high-level clash.
I was fought 168 for quite a few years.
Correct.
You know, Crawford never fought heavy, 154 and that.
And
that makes a big difference when you're in the ring. You're carrying around an extra 20 pounds you're not used to fighting with.
He might get tired halfway through the fight because why? Because the blood cells and muscle.
Feeding, trying to feed up too much muscle. It's not normal if you're not used to it.
Okay, what if he stays skinny and he comes in way under the weight?
Then he's getting hurt. Boxing, you're gonna get hit. 12-round fight. The law of averages tells you you're gonna get hit.
And you like Crawford because I know he's been to your gym. It's just boxing, no bias. Okay.
What and sport? It's it's athletics. It's Crawford has never been up there. Canelo's got a great chin. He's fought big guys. He's never a lot, and everybody thinks he's done.
Manny Pacquiao's trainer warned strongly about the danger Crawford faces. He argued Crawford has never officially battled someone with Canelo's size and power. While some say Crawford sparred bigger men, sparring is not equal to a real sanctioned fight under the lights. The trainer stressed that every punch from a naturally larger opponent lands differently, and Crawford has never truly dealt with that. Facing Canelo, who has beaten top fighters across heavier weights, could be the greater test. He added that fighting heavier than usual drains stamina, while coming into light risks serious punishment. To him, Crawford's skills may not overcome such a natural size gap.
Bro, size matters. And what kills me, this is what bothers me so much, that I try to educate y'all. If you don't know how to fight, the only people who say shit like this are guys who don't know how to fight. They don't know boxing. You've never been in there before. Bro, I am telling you, something y'all need to understand. This is just like when I used to tell y'all for the law. Y'all, I got videos on my page from 10 years ago, and I'm telling y'all that MMA fighters don't have terrible boxing. They have terrible boxing. This is a time when y'all was saying, this is before the crossover fights and shit. And I'm like, MMA fighters don't stand a chance against a boxer in a boxing match. And y'all just thought, oh, they could use, y'all are actually talking about people's wrestling backgrounds when it comes to boxing. Y'all are actually on here trying to talk about someone's wrestling skills helping them win a boxing match. Bro, wrestling is not going to help a boxer the same way boxing skills ain't going to help an NCAA wrestler in a wrestling match. His boxing skills, it don't matter how good his hands are with boxing, that's not going to help him win a wrestling match. You can have all the wrestling skills in the world. That is not going to fucking help you in a boxing match if you don't know how to box. If you're not a better boxer than the guy you're going against, your wrestling is not going to help you win. It's just not. It's two different sports, bro.